runner situation. He's still running. He's still running. Like, I'm using Hagerun right now. Like, I get him below-ish health.
Hold on, just a quick second. I know you are not talking to me. What are you talking to? I didn't even hear. Do you think that your candy ass is talking to me? Are you talking to me? Well, I don't know. That depends. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Wait, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? I suppose that depends. Are you talking to me? Why are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? No, you're not talking to me. Are you talking to me? You decided you want to talk to me. Is that right, son? You're talking to me, right? You're not talking to me.
He popped ultimate.
Talking to me. Are you?
You see this? He's popping ultimate in the middle of a 1v1.
You ain't couldn't help but notice you were walking to me. So let me ask you a question. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Are you well, I guess it depends.
I gotta get out of here.
Look,
he wants to run.
Talking to me. Are you talking to me? It's like the thing where, like, if you were talking to me, then I would have to, like, have a response. Great.
Literally told, bro. I literally made a whole tweet about it, too.
Hey, yo, Camelogs, I got a video you just watched. I'm currently on this season of America's Got Talent. You should watch it.
So, fact. In the new Minions and Monsters movie, we see the Minions support the women's suffrage movement, which would imply that the women's suffrage movement was evil, since the Minions only work for evil masters. The suffrage movement itself was not evil. It would indirectly contribute to some of the greatest evil the world has ever known. In 1848, the first women's conference was held in Seneca Falls, and they produced the Declaration of Sentiments, where the women demanded the right to vote, fair wages, and equal opportunities. This declaration would spark the women's suffrage movement. In 1910, suffragette Helen Todd would give a speech where she included the line, "Bread for all and roses too." And the term, bread and roses, became a slogan for the women's suffrage movement, with bread symbolizing economic security and roses for better living standards. At the 1910 International Conference of Socialist Women, Clara Zetkin suggested a yearly International Women's Day, but no date was chosen. Many histories claim there were large women-led protests in New York on March 8th in 1857 and 1908, but most historians agree those never happened and were made up to remove the Socialist and Revolutionary Association, with March 8th being International Women's Day. Because on March 8th, 1917, over 100,000 women took to the streets of St. Petersburg, Russia, demanding bread and peace, protesting against the food shortages and death caused by the First World War. This protest would grow into the February Revolution, which would lead to the Russian monarchy and Tsar Nicholas II being overthrown and a shaky temporary government being put in place. This allowed Vladimir Lenin to return to Russia from exile, and he rallied the people under the slogan "Peace, Land, and Bread," and led an insurrection alongside Leon Trotsky to take control of the government, which would give birth to the Soviet Union. In 1922, Clara Zetkin worked with Vladimir Lenin to set March 8th as International Women's Day to celebrate the women who had started the Russian Revolution. And a few years after this, Joseph Stalin would rise to control the Soviet Union, and around 20 million people would die during his time as dictator. Fact. In the new Minions and Monsters movie, we see the Minions support the women's suffrage movement, which would imply that the women's suffrage movement was evil, since the Minions only work for evil masters. And while the women's suffrage movement itself was not evil, it would indirectly contribute to some of the greatest evil the world has ever known. In 1848, the first women's conference was held in Seneca Falls, and they produced the Declaration.